this training module will cover all projects, what the project jacket relates to, so the tabs, activities, and files that are included in a project, how to create a project, how to search for existing projects, how to copy an existing work in progress into a new project, and ultimately taking a look at the job board. So we're going to go ahead and start with the vision system. And what you see in front of you is the dashboard. Up here at the top is the navigation toolbar, and you can see that it's broken down into the areas of your vision system. Today we're going to be working mainly with the projects area. So if I click on projects, you're going to see everything that relates to a specific project. You can see that you can create a new project, and once you create a project, anything that goes in that project, such as a presentation, a quote, a work in progress or sales order, purchase orders, and any sales invoices will be held neatly into that project folder on your Embroider Me Vision system. So what you see, if I click on projects and I look at the overview, you can see a list of all the projects that have been created. The difference between Vision and Boss is when you're in the Vision system, everything begins with a project. Even if you are just creating a work in progress, or maybe you're just creating a quote, you do need to create a project first, which again is that virtual file folder, and then anything to do with that order would be a document inside that project. So what we have a list here is several different projects that are already on the system. How to search for a project, if you come up to the top right of this screen, you can search for a project by the customer. So if you knew a specific customer you were trying to find all the projects for, you could go ahead, select customer, and key in the beginning of that customer name and hit go. And it will pull up all the projects that I've done for anything that starts with Anaheim. So we have Anaheim Hockey or Anaheim Little League. So if I just wanted to see Anaheim Little League, I could put the whole name in here and pull up any projects that pertain to that customer. So I could search a project by a customer name. I can also search a project by an actual project number, which is this number over here to the far left. I can search a project by the status of the project and the contact name. In addition, you have over here the status, which I just mentioned. You can look at the status of a project, so if it's a quotation that's been sent or a work in progress that's been acknowledged, you can go ahead and search acknowledged projects for Anaheim Hills Little League, or we could just go ahead and erase this, and you could just see anything pertaining to projects that are in the status acknowledged, which means that the customer has agreed to that work in progress. You can also sort projects by sales rep. So anyone that is on your team or within your franchisee store, they can be logged into the system and you can see the projects that they are currently working on or that have been assigned to them. This is all located under projects and it's under overview. So that's where you can get a listing of all those projects on your system. When a project reaches its completion stage, which means that you've invoiced the customer, the purchase order has been placed, you've received the goods, and you've fully delivered the goods to the customer, you can complete a project. And by doing that, you just basically highlight the project and then say complete selected. And that's how you would complete an actual project on your system. Now you can search existing projects that are open, or you can view the completed projects as well. So if I check view completed, you can see all those projects that have been completed, and then you can use the other filtering criteria such as customer name or contact name to get drilled down to a specific project that you're looking for. You also have the ability to search web inquiries only. So any orders that are coming into the web, so an order that's taken or an inquiry that's taken on your website or through a company store that's affiliated with your Vision, those will also drop into your Vision system as a project. Note the subject will basically say order imported, and then it will tell you the company store or the website that it's being ordered from. So you can process that order within your Vision system. So you can see those in here as well. And that's by checking this box next to website inquiries. So to begin with, as I mentioned, everything begins with creating that project folder or that new project. So what we're going to do is come up to projects and create a new project. You will want to give the project a subject. And we'll just call it project training. And then we have the status at new project. The target date is the due date for that project. So it's the goods need to be delivered on this date. So we'll just go ahead and set that date out. The type is the customer, prospect, or vendor. So if you are doing a quote, you could select a prospect. But if you are doing a work in progress, you're going to want to make sure that you're pulling from a customer. So you can pick whichever database you want to pull from. And then if you'd like, you just go ahead and type in the first few letters of the customer. So if we did that Anaheim, a drop down will appear and you can select the customer in which you're building the project for. Okay, so we'll grab that Anaheim Little League. Now you also have the ability when creating a project to add a customer to your customer database. And you can do that by hitting on the plus button. You can also select a contact from that customer record, or you can add a new contact to that customer record by hitting the plus button. Once you've created the project, if you hover over the next drop down, you can see the types of documents you can create from this point. So you could create a presentation, a quote, a sales order, an invoice, or you could copy an existing sales order or WIP. For this scenario, we're going to go ahead and just go in and create a WIP or a work in progress. So you would then build your sales order, and this is covered in the other training module that pertains to sales orders and WIPs. So what we're going to do basically is just come in here and put a few products on my sales order. And I'm going to fill some information up at the top of that sales order so that I'm able to save it into my project. So we'll wait for this to populate. So we've got our polo. We can define our colors and sizes by selecting that. And update those colors and sizes. And we'll do the same thing for the G500. And I'm going to want to put my job box number up on that sales order, as well as if I had a PO. And I will need to select the due date and the date that it's scheduled into production. Then what I can do is save and close. And when I do that, it's going to pop into the project overview folder. So you can see that when you select a project, there are various tabs, and it's really moving that order through the order processing. So you basically can start with a presentation or quote. You can convert that to a sales order, so you can see that we have a sales order that we created with those two products on it. From the sales order, you can generate your purchase orders, and also from the sales order, you can generate your invoice. You also have the ability to see any activities that have been done in this project. And an activity log is going to be the ability to add any type of calendar event, meeting, phone call. So you can go ahead and add an activity. You also have the ability to view your completed activities. So if I check that, it will pull up any emails or any conversations, any calendar events that have been put on the system for this specific project. The last tab is Notes and Files. You have that ability to upload artwork files here. You can upload Excel files, PDF, anything pertaining to this project. So yes, your vector art file can be uploaded here, and it can also be used when you go to email that purchase order to the vendor. You can attach the artwork. It's all nice and neat in your project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up to projects, and I'm going to go back into the overview. And I'm going to pull up another project. We'll go ahead and see if there's one that's invoiced. Here we go, this ABC one. So I'm going to click on this project number to open up that project. And you can see that it's gone through a presentation, and the status is ordered, so you can see what status that project is. So there was a presentation or a quote. It was converted to a sales order, so you can see that the sales order is here with the cap. And if I wanted to go in, I could go into the document and see exactly what that sales order involves. Doesn't look like a purchase order was raised, but if there had been, you would see the purchase orders there. And then you also see the invoice to the customer. So you can see that there's an invoice paid. Now, if you come over to the activity log and I select View Completed Activities, I could see any emails or anything that was revolving around this project. And then if I come over to Notes and Files, I can see that as well. Now I'm going to go back to the sales order, and we'll go into the invoice. And we're going to actually email this document out. So we'll email it. Just so you can see how it does save any activities against the record. So if I go into Next and I send and share, I'm going to send it to myself. So it will generate that PDF. There's the PDF. I can put what I'd like in the body of the email, and I can go ahead and send that. So it's saying that my email has been sent. So if I close this and I actually close, so we can go ahead and go back into that project. And it was the invoiced, this one. So if we go into that project, you can see under the activity log, we should be able to view completed activities, and there should be an email there. So you can actually see the email and pull up the email that was sent. So if you're emailing your sales order or your WIP to your customer, if you're emailing your invoice to the customer, if you're raising a purchase order and emailing that to the supplier, you can see all these completed activities within the activity log on the project, so that you know that this email has gone through or a meeting did take place, and you can see what you discussed at that meeting. Okay, so we'll come back to projects, and you can also see the projects is broken down by quotes and presentations. Now if you like, you can also go into each of these. And if I wanted to view all my presentations, it works very similar to how you would search in projects. You still have that same search criteria up here at the top in which you can sort. And you also have that ability to search presentations by the project number or the customer name. You also have showing presentations that are no longer in effect. You can also see ordered presentations and those that are not acknowledged. So you have a variety of areas in which you can filter the different documents that are found within a project. So you can also see quotes, all quotes on the system, all sales orders on the system, and again, you're sorting by the sales order number, the project number, or putting in the customer name. You're also sorting by status, whether it's a new order, which means it has not been sent, or an acknowledged order, which means that they received the sales order or the WIP, either email or you printed it and gave it to them. And then obviously invoice means that you've invoiced the customer. So the next thing to cover within this training module is how to create a project and copy an existing work in progress into that project. So we're going to begin again with a new project. Give it a subject. Okay. New project status, target date. We'll go ahead and select that target date. And we'll do the customer, ABC League. And select our contact. Now, what we're going to do is when we hover over the next, we're going to be using this copy a sales order. So we're going to copy another sales order, and it doesn't need to be something from ABC League. It could be a sales order from ABC League that you did in the past, and maybe it's a reorder, or it could be an order from a different customer that you just want to duplicate for this project. So we're going to say copy sales order. And now we're in the sales order screen. So this is listing all the sales orders that have been put on the system. So we can find it in different ways. What I'm going to do is I know it's a sales order that I did for ABC League. So that's fine. I've got the customer ABC League. If it was a different customer, I could go ahead and key in, Anaheim Hills Little League or something else here, and it will pull up all their sales orders on the system. But in this case, it's a reorder that I've done for ABC League, and it's going to be the same as this Anaheim Walk for a Cure. So I'm going to highlight this by just highlighting it, and then I'm going to hit select. And it's basically going to take that work in progress or that sales order and paste it in here with all the items on it. I think I just copied a blank sales order, so we can go ahead and close this, and we'll do another example there. So we'll do another new project, subject, test. And this time we're going to go ahead and copy a sales order, and maybe we'll select something from another. Yeah, I did Anaheim Walk for a Cure, and it's 0 value. So let's go grab one this fundraising hat. We'll select that, and it will pull that information into that project. So it's basically going to copy the products in. So you can see there's the sandwich cap and the embroidery, and it's identical. Now you can come in here and make adjustments to it if you like. So maybe the pricing's a bit different. It's 8 months later and they've had a pricing update. You can go ahead and do that. But basically it's copying that existing sales order or WIP that you did, and you can go ahead, copy it, put it in the project, and then it's easier. You can just go ahead and send that out to the customer. So I'm going to go ahead and close. The last thing I do want to show you is the job board. So if we come back up to projects, you can see that there's the job board. So we'll select job board. And this is going to allow you to track your projects and what stage those projects are at. So it gives you an overview of all the projects in the system and gives you like a tracker over here. So it depends if there's an arrow there, if it's pink, if it's grayed out, it's telling you that it's been completed or that stage has been completed and it's moving on to the next stage of that order cycle. So you can see up here, if I take just this first project, that it's a new order, so it means a WIP has been created and it's now acknowledged, which means the customer said, yes, go ahead and order those products for me. So what still needs to be done with this particular order is that a PO needs to be sent to the vendor. The goods need to be received and put into production. It needs to be shipped or picked up by the customer and then invoiced. So you still have some things that need to be done for this project. Now, up at the top of the job board, you have these hot links. So if I click on 458, it's telling me I have that many projects overdue. And if I click on that link, it's going to show me all those projects that are overdue. The same as it's due today or due this week or due this month. So if I want to see all my projects in production, I can click on 37 and it will show me all the projects that are in the production stage of the cycle. I can also see those projects that are now completed and ready to be invoiced. Okay, so once you invoice a project and it's been completed, you have that ability to go back into that project's overview, find the project, and complete the project like we did earlier. And we'll conclude with that. But before we come out of the job board, I do want to let you know you have some additional filter areas that you can use. You can use target date, project ID. You have the ability to add more projects to a page, so if you have a larger screen, you can display more. You have the ability to sort your job board by your sales rep, so those projects that are for a specific representative, whether it's inside or an outside rep. And then you also have the ability to search by customer, sales order quote number, and so forth. Now, you also, lastly, you have this link. So if you wanted to see more information on a particular project, you can click on the project number and it will open up that project folder that we were at. So you can see it's now going to open that project. And if you wanted to find out more information on that project, you can do that. You can pull up the sales order, the purchase order, and so forth. So it kind of allows you to expand into the detail of that project off the job board. So when you do have that scenario of the job has been completely invoiced, everything has been done, the last thing that you'll do is come back to project overview and you'll find the project that's been completed. So most likely you're going to be looking at the status of invoiced. You can see all those that are invoiced, and then you would select the one that has been completed, delivered, and paid for, highlight it, and then complete selected project. And then it will fall off your job board as well as your production planner. So that concludes this training module on projects. And what you've learned is how to create a project, what tabs such as activities and files are in a project. You also know how to search within the project overview to find a project for a particular customer or by a date or status. You've also learned how to copy an existing WIP or sales order into a new project for a reorder. And we also looked at the job board with all the hot links and how you can drill in and see the details of a project and see where that project is in the order processing cycle. I do encourage you to take the quiz that is associated with this project's training module. Thank you very much.